Hello guys, how are you? So I'm Pragati, and just to give a brief intro about myself, I had graduated last year and I started preparing for GATE in June 2025, and I was preparing along with a job. This year, my rank in GATE CS was 285 and 596 in GATE DA, and now I will be joining IISc Bangalore MTech program in computer science. So let's just start. Whatever questions you have, you can raise your hands or put it in the chat, right? We can go one after the other. Anything you want to discuss about your preparation or your routine, your plan, anything. Okay, just a second. So there's one question. Would you like to unmute yourself or chat is okay for you? Anyways, okay. So the first question is that I completed C DSA. Just a second. Okay. I completed C DSA algo is running, and for COA I'm doing PYQs right now. I'm doing okay. So my strategy is complete the syllabus with PYQs. Then after completion of syllabus, switch to test series. Is this right, or should I modify something? So you've completed these subjects, and COA also you have completed, for which you are doing the PYQs. Is it? All right. So strategy wise and then completion. Yes. So if the strategy, if you're talking about once you complete the subject and then you start the next subject and do the PYQs for it, then yes, that is right. Okay. So because whatever subject you have completed, I hope that you have started another subject also in parallel, which is in your case is DSA, right? You're doing it. All right. So yes, that's good. You're doing the new subjects, and along with it you're doing PYQs for COA. So yes, that's right. And once you complete about half of your syllabus, then you can start solving the subject wise and topic wise test. Like that would be the right time to get the test series, and you should be targeting to complete your syllabus by October, maximum November, I would say. And also make sure to revise you know in the entire this timeline. So keep revising as well, don't wait for the revision towards the end. And also if you're doing and also if you are doing this thing, just a second, where's your question? You're doing C DSA and DE, is that discrete maths or what is DE? Do you mean maths by okay, digital electronics? All right. So yes, then that is fine, because like I thought you were just doing C DSA and I understood it as maths. Then um yes, this is fine. Algo and electronics, do it this way. And for maths also, I would suggest that in between pick topics for maths also, because I feel if you will leave it towards the end, then there's a possibility that some topics will be left. About COA, I completed all the lectures first, and then again for COA also, just complete every topic of the syllabus. That's what I did, and then I was doing COA along with DBMS, and then I did the PYQs once I completed the entire subject of COA. Right, and it's a very lengthy subject. I remember this was the first subject that I started doing, so I had also made notes for COA. So either you're whether you're making notes or referring to any other notes, just you'll have to revise it multiple times. I did it about 3 to 4 times for COA, because it is a lengthy subject. It's core CS and there are a lot of things. So yeah, you're good to go. And then later, I when I was doing the when I got the test series, then I was solving subject wise test and topic wise test for COA. Those are hard. Even weekly quizzes, they are going to be tough, right? But you will just learn from that. Yes, that's fair if you start discrete maths topic wise, but don't do it at once. All right, first complete entire, what do we say, like first do what if you're doing DSA, then once you're done with DSA and digital electronics, then you can pick one topics of discrete maths, one of engineering maths, and then start another core subject and again do maths. Because if you just don't take maths uh, all together at once, do it topic wise. Okay, so the next question is, did you make all notes for all the subjects yourself or refer topper notes? So no, I did not refer topper notes, and I didn't make my own notes either. I would refer to the annotated notes that are there after every lecture. So like if there whatever subjects there are, I made a folder on my laptop, like for one for folder for computer network, one for DBMS, like that, one for DSA. And once I complete a subject, I used to download the annotated notes then and there only, and put it in that specific folder. So later when I had to revise, I just opened that subject, the folder for that subject, and I had all the notes handy. It took a bit longer to revise in the first go, but as and when I kept revising, the time uh, I took to revise was automatically reduced. It didn't take me that long to revise. Okay, did you make short notes? There's another question. So no, I didn't make exactly short notes topic wise. What the only sort of notes I had was that when I was solving PYQs, and so whatever question I found hard or challenging, which I couldn't do at first, or I couldn't think of the approach first, or if I learned something new from those PYQs, so these tricky PYQs, I wrote the solution in my notebook. So I had that notebook for any new topic that I'm learning through questions. And later when I was doing the test series, either the subject wise test or the full length mock test, so whatever question I was not able to do, and I used to look at the solution and various approaches for it, and if am learning anything new, I used to write that, and I use that for revision. So no short notes as such, because I personally felt that there are so many topics, and it was like that's a challenge I also face, that what should I be writing in the short notes. But if you want to make short notes, then don't make it after you complete the lecture or anything. For short notes, the best way is to sit with a notebook. So you should have one rough notebook to solve the questions which are there in between the lecture, and one for your short notes. You can while watching the lecture only just write whatever you feel like you need to write for remembering it. Because and either ways, whether or not you're making short notes, anyhow you'll have to revise the long notes as well. The revision of the entire long notes is important. Okay, at least two times if possible you should be revising for CDS and these subjects. So it's still fine if you're not revising the long notes, because these are mostly logical questions. You just have to keep solving questions for these. But for core subjects, and even in maths, there are topics where there are a lot of short tricks somewhere or formula somewhere. So you need to revise all of them, for which you have to go through your long notes anyways. And long notes, it's, I think I would suggest not to make them on your own. You can definitely refer to either topper notes if you understand the handwriting. I personally felt that annotated notes were the best, because I studied from them, so it was very easier to understand it, right? Because I was in the lectures, I was teaching on those slides itself, that's why. Okay, so another question is how I approached PYQs. So for PYQs, I started doing the PYQs once I completed the entire subject, because in if I'm doing suppose database, so DBMS, so in the lecture only there are multiple PYQs that are already taken up. So there is, I don't think it's that good idea to solve PYQs while watching the lecture, or like while you're doing the subject. It's best if once you complete the entire subject, and then when I moved to the next subject and I was watching lectures, I used to take out at least 1 hour every day. It was usually more than an hour. I used to do PYQs at night mostly, because I felt sleepy while watching lectures late night. So that's when I took out time for PYQs. So I used to sit at around 11 p.m. and till whenever I felt like solving questions, I used to do PYQs for the subject that I had studied earlier. So PYQs, I did topic wise. I had the book of PYQs. I had printed it, and it had all subjects and topic wise PYQs. That's how I solved it. And if I found any question which I wasn't able to solve, then I marked it there only. So while revision, I had to go through only those questions which I had marked there. That's how I did it. And another thing which worked for me is that towards the end, there are a lot of PYQs. So once you complete majority of your course subjects, then you will have more time to solve questions. So toward at that time, I started solving. I gave myself a target to solve 25 questions every day. So that's when I covered most of my PYQs, because I had some quantitative measure that I can track my progress. So you can set targets that you have to solve these many questions. And with PYQs also, you have to be regular. And so with revision, you have to revise almost every other day. And PYQs also you should be solving every day, because it's best if you cover all your syllabus along with PYQs and revision by October. Then for the next 3 months, you'll have more time to revise as well as to solve the other questions. Like you could be solving your remaining weekly quizzes, the test series, the full length mock test. All of these things are equally important. So cover the PYQs by October only, I would suggest. That should be your target at least. All right. So all of you who have joined, Priyansh, Shivang, Vedanand, any question that you have, you can raise your hand if you want to discuss anything. I think we have covered the questions of chats. So if you have anything else, you can raise your hand. So any of you who have joined, okay, another question in the chat. So the question is, most PYQs are covered in lectures, and when I start doing it after completing subject by myself, then it feels like I know the solution. Then what to do in this situation? So firstly, if you are doing the uh, suppose for computer networks, if you're studying a particular subject and in lectures the PYQs are covered, then mostly it would be topic wise, right? Like first you start with data link layer and then you move towards the application layer. That's why I say that you should be doing PYQs after completing the subject. So like what usually happens is that, say you have completed computer networks and now you're moving to another subject, say operating system. Now when you're watching the lectures for operating system, then start taking out a particular time in your day and do the PYQs of computer network. Now, since data link layer was covered first, then there is a slight chance that you might be forgetting the topics there. So, you could revise and then do the topic wise, start with the topic wise PYQ of the subject. But it's good if you remember the solution, then that is also fine. The thing is that you should be able to solve. So, firstly, do approach the PYQs only once you have completed the entire subject, and that also do topic wise. So if you're able to solve, then that is good. Just it's better actually. It won't take you much time, and this happens also if you have solved a particular question. Then usually we have the solution in our head. And actually a lot of questions in gate exam also are like that, which have come multiple times in the previous exams. That's why PYQs are important. So that's okay. That usually happens if you have already seen PYQs, then it's likely that we do remember how to solve it. So for that, you should be just focusing on completing the lectures and still going through all the PYQs. So as soon as you are done with it, the faster you get done with it, then you will have more time to solve the weekly quizzes and the subject wise test, because those questions would be very tricky and very, I would say, different from the PYQs as well, because they are designed very differently, and there is there to learn from every single of those questions. So just solve all these PYQs as soon as you can, finish your syllabus. And if you have done about, like, if you're done with halfway through your syllabus along with PYQs and revision, then I think you can take the test series and start solving the topic wise and subject wise test also. Or meanwhile you could do weekly quizzes. If you're able to do the PYQs quickly, then start with the weekly quiz. I'm sure you will be learning a lot from all, like every one of those tests. So that's how you can approach it. Okay, there is another question in the chat. Wait. Okay, firstly, just a second.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I am currently,
Yes.
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Ma'am, I've just completed third year and I'm in my final year of BTech and targeting
Hmm.
GATE 27 attempt.
Okay.
I purchased the Go Classes complete course back in March, but I was quite inconsistent in the beginning, so I could just complete a few topics, which include linear algebra, probability, some part of calculus. In discrete mathematics, I
Okay.
completed mathematical logic, and the final portion of set theory is remaining.
Okay.
Also, I've just completed C programming, but I'm yet to give a test. I mean, today I gave the first weekly test, and the remaining ones are left, and I haven't solved any PYQ yet. Also,
Okay.
the topics that I studied earlier, which include linear algebra and probability, so I seem to have forgotten it
Hmm.
because of lack of revision. So I feel a little demotivated and I feel left behind, and which is why I keep getting inconsistent in my studies.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
how, yes. So, firstly, how is your college routine like? Like, do you have to go every day? Is it hectic, or you can manage to make out some time every day?
ma'am, I can manage in morning hours and also in evening hours. Like the
Okay.
rules are not that strict, but around
Hmm.
70% attendance is to be maintained.
Okay. So, firstly, then see, because now there are only about 7 months or something about that remaining. So, and there is like most of your syllabus remaining. So, I think there is for sure a need for you to be consistent, right? Because most of the core subjects are almost like, left only, and there is not a
Yes,
lot
ma'am.
of time. So, it's not like the time is less and it's not possible to do. But I think for now on, it would require for you to study every day and not even take 1 day of gap. So and it's, see, once you do a subject, then thinking like you're forgetting it, that's normal, because we have to revise it at least 2 to 3 times. Only then we get the confidence that okay, now we know most of it. Okay, but before that, it's very obvious that we will think that we are forgetting things. So for maths, if you have done LA, probability, calculus, engineering maths, if you're almost done with, then I would say before picking up the other topics for discrete maths, start with the core subjects. Either you can take the subjects that you have already covered in your semester, so at least you would know the basics. Or if you want to align with this semester subjects, whatever it is, just pick two subjects at a time, because since there is not much time left, it would be good if you start with two subjects, so that if you're studying one single subject for 3 to 4 days and you feel a little bored with that, then you can start the other one for the next 3 to 4 days. So in this kind of way, you can pick any two subjects and pick like some lengthier and core subjects, like you can take computer network operating system, any of these, right? And then start with the lectures. So give most of your time to lectures only, but for 2 hours or at least 1.5 hour you should be taking out for revision of the topics that you have done in maths. So initially maybe you're starting with probability. So in your entire day, study as much as you can, in the sense that watch lectures for any the two subjects that you're picking up. Watch lectures and focus on the lectures very properly. Try and understand what's being taught, and focus as like very deeply in the lecture. And once and decide a time for yourself that maybe from 11 p.m. you will focus on a revision. So from that time you can take up, maybe you can start with linear algebra, and then you can revise it. first go through the notes, annotated notes there are. So the first 2 3 days you can give to revising linear algebra, and from there on you can do the PYQs for it. Like from the fourth day, once your revision is done, then at 11 p.m. when you sit, you will be solving the PYQs for linear algebra. But majority of your time should be going towards watching lectures and completing the syllabus. And then once you're done with these two subjects, so maybe by end of July you will be done with two subjects, and along with it you will also complete the PYQs of the topic of maths that you had done before. Then from August you pick another two subjects, and then you do the PYQs for the two subjects that you will be completing in July. And make a very strict timeline that you can set a target that before November you have to complete 10 subjects. So that's the wider target, and then you set targets monthly, that monthly these many subjects have to be done. So unless you don't set a target for yourself, then maintaining consistency would be tough. So you have to set
Okay.
very strict targets. Maybe you can decide that you will be completing COA and DBMS in July. Then it how many hours it takes, no matter what, you have to give it, and give time every day for revision, for what you have done before. Otherwise a lot of backlog will happen for revision, and if you don't revise, then it's almost as good as never studying that subject, only because only once you revise it 2 to 3 times, only then you will be able to solve that question of from that subject. So just merely watching the lectures is also not enough. Watch the lectures very properly, but every day take out, start with 1 hour a day, and then you can keep increasing it. Okay, so revise through PYQs, or first you revise a topic and then do PYQs.
Okay, okay, ma'am. And
Or
for
yeah.
the revision of ongoing subject, what I usually do is every 3 to 4 days, I just go through my previous notes, whatever I studied in the last 3 4 days or in the last week, and then
Yes.
I proceed with today's lectures. So the ongoing subject revision is proper. I'm doing it properly, but only the subjects which I've studied 2 months ago or 1 month
Right.
ago, so that I will need to incorporate. Also,
Yes.
like I watched the recording of one of your previous these
Yes.
guidance sessions. So
Yeah.
there you suggested that instead of doing discrete mathematics as a whole, you should
Yeah.
divide it into topics. So should I complete set theory and then go to another subject, and then maybe after completing that subject come back to functions and graph and group theory? Is it a good strategy?
How much of set theory have you done?
It's almost complete. I guess just 5 or 8 lectures are remaining, the last ones.
All right, if just a few lectures are remaining, then you can do it. And maybe just try if 5 to 8 lectures, right? And how long is each lecture
Ma'am,
approximate?
I'll need to check that.
Like most of the lectures that you have been seeing for set theory, how long are they?
Ma'am, around half an hour or maybe 45 minutes.
So I think according to that, if see tomorrow is Saturday, Sunday, I feel like these 2 days you will be able to complete set theory.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right, so yeah, it's just about one. I mean, ideally you should set harder targets, that maybe you can think on Saturday I'll watch all 8 lectures. So I would say it's possible because you're not even making notes, right? There's no point making notes when there are all the long notes available. So you can finish it up the entire set theory tomorrow itself. And from Sunday, you can take two subjects, right? And then you start. And this revision technique is good, that in 3 to 4 days, you're revising what you've studied. But see, even with that, after the 2 months, you will still, there's a possibility that you will be forgetting what you studied right now,
Yes,
even
ma'am.
with revision. So the only solution to that is you revise again. So revise multiple
Okay.
times, right? Just keep revising. So revision should be done every day. As I said, either you revise by through notes or through PYQs. So even from Sunday, when you're starting the two subjects, like in a particular day, maybe you will be doing only one, but still do two parallelly, right? So when you pick the subjects, still make sure to give 1 hour for revising maths. It won't seem long if you do it parallelly, right? So if you think about doing two subjects in July, just think that when July ends you will be done with two subjects, and also you will have revised all the subjects that you have done earlier along with PYQs. And since these two subjects you have just done recently, then you will remember this also, so there would be no backlog for revision. So that's
Okay.
how it
Okay, I'll do
aligns.
that.
So yes, and it will require effort, of course, because you'll have to give a lot of hours to studying, because you're watching the lectures also, and you have to give a lot of time to watching lectures, because I would say whatever subjects are remaining, they are pretty lengthy, right? There are multiple
Yes,
topics
ma'am.
and they are going to take much more time for revision also. So it would be the best if you can sacrifice a bit now and give most of your time to lectures, so that in the end you will have sufficient time for revising again and solving the test series, which is also equally important, because test series will be the rank booster for you in exam, and that will work only if your foundation is clear, which is the revision, PYQs and syllabus, because you have to complete 100% syllabus, you can't skip any topic. That's why you'll have to put more effort, right?
Okay. Okay, ma'am, I'll do that. But should I go for normal lectures or should I watch compact courses or something?
For the subjects for which compact course are there, you can definitely do it from there.
Yeah,
It's
so for
totally,
discrete
yes.
mathematics, I'll complete set theory from normal lectures and then from remaining topics, if I shift to compact courses, will that be fine?
Yes, yes, that will be completely fine. See, it's
Okay,
not just the
okay.
lectures. Like for me, I remember I gave only like maybe they were since was preparing from the YouTube lectures initially. So for in Go classes only for graph theory, group theory, and set theory, for all these things. For set theory, I remember there was a playlist, but for other topics, there were usually marathon lectures. So it wasn't even like a full course in a, like it wasn't even like the compact course. It was just marathon lectures, 2 to 3 lectures, each of about 3 to 4 hours. It was like that for a subject, and I studied from there. But what helped me is that I had time to I managed to solve the uh, mock test and the subject wise test and topic wise test. So it doesn't matter whether it's, I think, best if you study from the compact course, because with the time remaining it's totally fine. Compact courses are also complete, so when you're studying, don't think that you are missing out on any topic. So it's for whatever subject you find in compact course, you can definitely go with that.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. So there's one another question in chat. I want to ask, I started with engineering maths, and which order should I follow to complete all subjects properly, which are interlinked? So, in terms of interlinked, Shivank, that's your question, right? So, again, for if you have started with engineering mathematics, then don't do it entirely at once. Maybe just do one of calculus, probability, and linear algebra, and then move to the core subjects as well. And my suggestion would be that since I particularly feel that C programming and DSA are slightly bit easier compared to the rest of the subjects, because they are mostly logic based, and so that's why I would suggest you all to do the core subjects first. So if you're asking about the preference, in terms of sequence, there is just one, that once you complete C, then only move to DSA, and then it's good if you have completed digital logic before you move to COA. Apart from that, there is not much interrelation between any of the subject. You could start with OS or DBMS or computer network, or there is one that you should have done TOC, and then compiler design, digital logic, and then COA, C, and then DS. So that's the sequence. Other than that, you can follow any sequence. And you have just completed your first year and you are targeting 2028, right? So you have 20 this year and the next year, so that's sufficient time. And the one challenge that we usually face is that the major challenge for anyone preparing is that once you don't have a resource, we jump to one lecture playlist and then to the other. So since you have already enrolled in the course and you have access to all the lectures, I'm very sure that if you utilize time and watch lectures, each and every lecture for all the subjects, then it very easily you would be able to do very good in the 2028 attempt. So sequence wise, I told you the interconnection. Apart from that, you can just follow any sequence, right? You can maybe take the subjects which are there in your semester, complete those, and then move on to the next one. And since you are in second year, you could also be starting with C programming, DSA. Just start with any subject, right? It doesn't really matter. You can take one easy subject and one hard one. That's how you can go about it. All right. Any other question, or you can just leave the meeting so that I'll end the session then. Okay.
Hey, hi, Pragati.
Yes, hi. Hi.
Uh, Actually, I'm in my second year right now, and I'm focusing a lot on lectures. I'm
Okay.
currently done my DM and engineering mathematics a bit. As
Okay.
you mentioned in your earlier, I think so, recording that I should alternate do because of course only maths is really hectic.
Yes.
So
Right.
and but there's a problem that I'm not able to solve too many questions. And even for linear algebra, I was solving my PYQs. I was not able to
Okay.
solve many of them. Like out of 10, I was able to like three or four. So I
Okay.
go to my concepts also, but I do this just after the lectures because I think the quizzes are more difficult than PYQs.
Right. Right.
Some so what should I do? Like how should I like mainly focus on doing more questions or like how can I
So,
school about it?
did you do the PYQs like right after watching the lecture? Is it?
Yes.
So, see, one thing could be that there are particular questions which it may seem that it's from this particular topic, but it may require knowledge of some topic which you will be learning in the later lectures. So, I would say the best thing is that if you're studying linear algebra, say, then just sit with a rough notebook and just focus on the lecture and then solve whatever question is, since you just entered your second year, is it?
Yes. Yes, yes. No, I'm
Yes.
not
So,
entered. I'm currently like my second year is over now. It's
okay.
like
So third year.
a
All right.
gap. Your third year is going to start now in
Okay.
seventh
Okay.
November.
Okay. Got it. So yeah, right. So you still have time. You can, just for the lecture that you're watching, just pause and try to solve every question on your own instead of just playing it and looking at the solution. So that's one thing. And once you have completed the entire linear algebra, then revise it from the beginning once to connect everything, right? Because it is lengthy, so you will understand most of it, because I have also now completed LA, and most of it is understandable. But one thing is there, that once you complete the entire subject, then you have to revise it once. So you firstly, if there's anything you're forgetting, you revise that, and then you connect everything, right? You connect the dots, how the first lecture was linked to the last. So that for that, you have to revise the annotated notes, every single PDF for the lecture, and then you move to the PYQ. Then you can judge yourself, right? Because ideally, if you have completed the subject, most of the PYQs, like approx 70%, you should be able to solve. If you're not able to solve, then the only two things are: first, you have not revised it, because even if you're solving PYQ of a particular topic, it is possible that it requires concepts of the previous lecture and the lecture that you haven't watched yet. So if
Yes,
I
agree.
would say, if you want to see, then if you're whatever lecture you're watching, if you feel that you are understanding the lecture and whatever questions that sir is giving, if you are able to solve it or at least understand it easily when you see the solution, then that means you're good. The only thing is that you have to revise, because everything is covered in the uh, syllabus of maths even. So there, it's not like you're missing out on any extra information which you need for solving the PYQs. You may just be lagging in revision of it, and wait, just complete the entire subject before going to the PYQs.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And also one thing,
Hmm.
like you mentioned that you can do it from annotation notes. It will save my time in notes.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm
Yes.
having the toppers notes, which has saved my
Okay.
time, and I'm able to do it.
Okay.
And I should I continue with that only and then make short notes after completing all, or I should make along the way, like using annotation notes and make short notes along the lecture that I'm completing.
I think short notes you should be making while you're watching the lecture itself. You should not wait like for the entire subject or topic to be completed and then making the short notes. When you're watching the lecture, anything that you feel is important or you should be remembering, then just write it in one line, you know. So it's best if you make the short notes while studying the particular subject. Otherwise it will be taking time if you do it while revising. How like I went was that if there is for short notes, so I didn't really make short notes, but if you are making, make it while watching the lecture. And how I used to revise was I just used to sit with my laptop open, so whether you're referring any topper notes or the annotated notes, then at that time focus only on understanding the topic and revising instead of having your focus on writing things down and making the correct short notes. So for revision also, it's very important that you sit with free hands and mind and just understand whatever you have studied so that you retain it for a longer time. So short notes just try to make along with the lecture.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and again, like, are you starting with any other subject apart from maths?
Yes, I am currently doing my C programming, and it's like two module are over. I'm on the third module of it.
And are you just doing C or any other subject also?
No, just C right now. After that, I have to complete the left subjects of engineering mathematics, and then I'll pick one as you mentioned. Then I think so I'll
Have you
go
done
for
any other of the core subjects like uh, computer network, OS, TOC, compiler?
no. Not done it.
I mean, I would suggest you to pick one of those also, I would say, along with C. Because you know what usually happens is that when we pick a subject, initially we tend to give more time to it. And only towards the end, when we realize only a few months are remaining and a lot of subjects are there, then we sort of rush and panic. And in the beginning, uh, no matter what you do, that's usually how it happens. You know, in the beginning, you tend to give more time to a subject than it should have taken. So I would say that C programming, it's still slightly uh, easier compared to the rest of the subjects. Now definitely C and maths cover the majority of the marks, right? Mostly about I think from C and DSA about 11 to 17 marks something range is there. But since you want the top rank, then every single mark matters. So I would say that C programming, if say towards the end, if your C and DSA is left, then even in the mock test you will be able to solve the questions from these topics, because C, it's a very logical subject. Once you look at a few programs, you will get a gist of it. But for the core subjects, it is very lengthy. There are so many topics, and subjects like COA you can find a bit tougher also. And in OS also, there are topics in paging and memory management which are, you know, a bit in depth, and you need to really sit and understand. So I would say that pick one of the core subjects also right now only, don't wait for later.
All
Because if
right.
you do
And
C and then again maths, then you know you're just covering again the basic ones. The tougher
mm,
subjects are still pending, so it's high time, I would say, you should be picking a core CS subject as well from maybe now only along with C. Then you can maybe give 3 hours to C programming and 3 to 4 hours to the other subject or something like that.
all right. And just one more doubt. I
Yeah.
just wanted to know, like, after completing my lectures, I should go to, like, of course, the lecture questions and all, and then
Yeah.
I'll go to the quizzes, and then I think so I can do the PYQ. That will surely make it better after revision.
After revision,
For
as in, like,
I mean to say the order
hmm,
of practicing questions, like first the quizzes, first the lecture questions, then the quiz, and then I should go for PYQs, and then doing all the
yeah. See,
that
what you
would
can
be
do is suppose that you have whatever topics you've completed. So, lecture questions, so you're doing while watching the lecture itself, right? So, you can't do any question before you complete the lecture. So, questions, do it while you watch the module itself. And once you are complete with the entire subject, all the modules, only then you will go to the PYQ and the quiz for it. Before that, just focus on the entire subject. Or weekly quiz, what you can do is that if you have studied a particular topic, today you've say completed maybe in DBMS you have completed normalization, all the lectures. Then if you want to give the weekly quiz for normalization, you can give it. But so that's how it would go. But once you are done with the subject, your priority should be solving the PYQs first. So you have to do everything, but you can sort of do it in parallel also. So you have started the PYQs, maybe half an hour you do PYQ for a topic, and then you can give a weekly quiz also. So that's how. First complete the subject, and then there are so many questions to do. You can do it in any order. But PYQs are mandatory. You have to solve all the PYQs. And so are quizzes also, I would say, because you will be learning a lot from them. So you can do it in parallel, but make sure to pick it up only once you're done with the module. And for you, I would really say that you should pick a core subject now only. You should not wait for later.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Okay, so um, the ones remaining, are there any questions, or I should end the session? You can leave the meeting if you're done with your question, so I will know that there is nothing left. Priyansh, do you have anything to ask? Or the one who just joined, is there anything that you'd want to ask? Okay, then I will end the session.